Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you, Tisha. Shamika, can you hear me? Shamika, can you hear me? I'm waiting for Jesse's right here on the phone. I am. Okay. Shamika, can you hear me? Shamika.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Do you know how to unmute it?
No.
Okay. Down there at the bottom, there's a little microphone. If it's unmuted, I just unmuted it for you. But down there at the bottom where it says Galaxy S9 Plus, your name of your phone, if it's muted, there'll be a microphone with a red X through it. If it's unmuted, it'll just say your phone number.
It don't have none of that down here. So.
Yeah, because I unmuted it for you.
Okay. All right, I get you.
Okay.
Chef, if you see me disappear, I'm gonna have to run to the bathroom because I'm not feeling good.
I'm just waiting for Mark, Ronnie, and Angela Lowe. Okay, and this is a short chapter. We're going to quickly go over chapter 8. I'm not going to keep you guys on very, very long. But hopefully, matter of fact, we'll just go ahead and start now. Hopefully you all had a great weekend. I know that some of you went ahead and resubmitted everything into Moodle. Please remember, if it's not loaded into Moodle, your assignment, then it won't be counted for, because that's how it will be graded. If you need help, you can just call me and ask me. It's very easy. It doesn't take but a minute. I helped Shamika out. If you need me to meet you at the school, my mom is sick right now, and we're not really sure what's going on with her, but I can get Chef Anderson or Chef Boyd to help you if you need help with loading any of your assignments to Moodle. Remember, the last day for this class will be Friday, so I'm giving you all up until Friday to have all of your work done. As for the quizzes go, for quiz 2, I believe is Wednesday, it's Thursday. I like to have the last quiz right before the final exam. For one, it helps you guys with study. If we were just back to our regular setting, being in the classroom, it would help you a lot as far as studying, because the quiz 2, it'll be like half of the final exam. So all you would have to do is just go back over the information that you did for quiz 1. But anyway, quiz 2 will be on Thursday. Remember, you have to complete the quiz on that day. I will give you the same time that I did for quiz 1, from 8:30 until 11:59. All of you have done it, but I'm just reiterating the directions for the quizzes. The quiz will be open at 8:30 on Thursday, and it will close at 11:59 Thursday night. If you have not completed your quiz 2, that will mean a 0 for you. And remember, you can use your book, you can use your PowerPoint. I don't have a time limit on the quiz. You can take as long as you need to answer the questions for your quiz. I've not set up this class for any of you to fail. So please don't get overwhelmed. If you need help for any of your assignments, feel free to call me, but I will only be available up until 5 o'clock. After 5 o'clock, you can just shoot me an email. I probably won't get back to it till the next day. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into chapter 8. If you have your book, I'm on page 164. Cooking healthfully and tastefully. I really wish we were back in a classroom setting, so I could get some input from you guys as to how you all cook at home. Like, do you keep up with how you are plating your food? For me, as a chef, regardless of what I'm cooking, even if it is a frozen pizza, one of my favorite foods is pizza. I always like to plate. I like to be play with plating, play with garnishing. In this chapter, we're going to kind of go back over things you all learned in first quarter. Hopefully you all have not forgotten. And we're also going to kind of talk about how to convert recipes. I know you all did some of that in first quarter. You're going to get definitely more in depth with converting recipes in this quarter. We're going to just kind of go over it today, but when we get back into our normal classroom setting, we're going to do some exercises on how to convert recipes. Not as hard as it sounds, guys. It really isn't, but it's important for you all to know how many ounces are in a cup, how many teaspoons are in 1 teaspoon, how many cups are in a quart, how many quarts are in a gallon. It's important for you all to know that. Regardless if you are baking or if you are doing something savory or if you are working in catering, regardless of what you're doing, you have to know how to convert recipes. But on to chapter 8. Go down to appealing senses. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all for our PowerPoint today. All right, hopefully you all can see that. So, cooking healthy and tastefully, appealing to the senses. I don't know if you all still watch Food Network. I have a love-hate relationship with Food Network right now. It's not the same as it used to be when I was coming up in the game. like to say. The shows are not quite, don't have the heart they used to. But when you're cooking, you want to cook with your senses. You want to cook with how it smells, how it feels in your hands, how it would feel in your taste buds, the sound when you're chewing, like the texture. All your senses are working when you're cooking. There was a meme that goes on that's saying that you just kind of just season your food until your ancestors tell you that's enough. That's how it is for us in the kitchen. Especially when I was working on the line, I would get kind of tired of constantly tasting my foods. But so I got used to being able to taste my food with just being able to look at what it is that I was going for. I could kind of look and see if it tastes good, if that makes sense. So your senses you can use your senses in many different ways when it comes to cooking. I like to smell my food before I eat it. Get used to doing that. I encourage you all to do that. Smell your food before you taste it. That helps to open your senses up. That helps you to know after a while you can smell the salt. You can smell the herbs. You can smell and taste them at the same time in a way. When we get into lab, you'll kind of see that with me. I don't have to necessarily taste your food. I can kind of just smell it and see and know that it needs some more salt. Know that it needs some more pepper, or it needs some seasoning overall. Tisha can tell you. Somebody is trying to get in. Let me check. I had to make sure I think somebody's trying to get in. Never mind. Okay. So on page 164, talks about infused oils. One of my favorite chefs growing up was Bobby Flay. He makes a lot of different types of oils, like basil oils, pepper oils, different types of oils when he garnishes. Infused oils are oils that have been heated and seasoned to enhance flavor. It can be a pepper oil. You can use, whether it be crushed peppers, but you don't want to burn it. Of course, I can show you all how to do this when we get into lab, but that's another way of actually, it's a more flavorful way to season or garnish your food without adding calories. If you're looking at appealing to the senses on page 164, go down to the examples of popular flavor combinations. Sweet and sour. Sweet and sour, the first thing you think of is Asian food. Chicken with pineapple and tomatoes. Hot and sour, Asian hot and sour soup. Acid and fat, salmon with lemon sauce. Oftentimes you see that seafood is garnished with or served with lemon and butter in particular. Acid fat and a piquette, I can never say that word. You all did one of those in first quarter. Chipotle, I wish I could talk to you guys. Chipotle, if anybody doesn't know already, Chipotle is smoked jalapenos. Smoked and cooked down to a very flavorful paste. Acid fat, piquette, and sweet. Chipotle honey barbecue pork. A lot of these flavor combinations are combinations that we've already been familiar with, whether you know them from different cuisines or you cook this way at home. But when you watch different shows like Chopped, you'll hear them say it needs more acid, it needs more heat, it needs something sweet. You want to get familiar with knowing how to layer your flavor foundations or know how to layer your flavors and not just using salt. Okay, never mind. Okay. If you all haven't noticed, I'm getting emails about Moodle. I guess there's a lot of traffic on Moodle today, so the server's kind of moving a little slow. So if you are having server problems with logging into Moodle, just give it until possibly after 5 o'clock to load your homework in, or I'll give you all until tomorrow to load your homework in if you can't get into it today. My plate. We talked about my plate in previous chapters. I believe you will, I'm not sure if Chef Boy introduced my plate to you all in first quarter, but this is kind of basically a outline of what your plate should look like. You want to have fruits, grains, vegetables, proteins, and dairy. Cooking at home, proteins, meaning your meats and or eggs tend to be the larger portion of your plate. And when it comes to healthy cooking or nutritious cooking, you want your fruits and your vegetables to take up most of your plate, at least 55 to 60% of your plate overall. Having your grains, whole grains in particular, and a small amount of dairy. Watching your portion sizes. Going back to chapter, I believe it was 7, I talked about how to be able to measure your protein. You want it to be about the size of the palm of your hand. Of course, every palm is different. That's according to the size of your own body, but you want to base the size of your protein on the palm of your hand. That's an easy guide for you. Visual cues and plate size. Hopefully you guys are playing around with different plates, not just using just round plates. Start using like rectangular plates, square plates. I like to talk a lot about plating. We will get into that when we get into lab, and talk more about garnishing when we get into lab, which is, I think, what, about 3-4 weeks from now? Still got like another month, guys. Whew. Adapting recipes for improved nutrition. I am on page, anybody have any questions so far?
No, chef.
Okay. I know I'm moving a little fast. Oh, back to my plate. Another concept that you want to remember, that plating in this way is a home style way of plating. When it comes to being a chef or the professional way of plating, an easy way is the center of the plate. I know that Chef Boyd went over that in first quarter. And you want to remember what I like to call the 5 elements of plating: height, texture, taste, dimensions, and Tisha, what else?
What did you say? Height, texture, dimension. Isn't it sight? How it looks?
Height, taste, texture, dimensions, meaning that you should be able to see your plating in a 360 view, meaning that regardless of where you turn your plate, that the customer or your client should be able to see the overall presentation from a 360 view. Of course, I'll get more into that when we get into lab. But
is that last one color?
Color. Thank you, Tisha. It's color. You want to remember to use different colors and not have everything be what is called minute. Minute meaning that everything is one color. For a minute, that was a very popular style of plating for some time. That was like a few years ago when I was an executive chef. We did play around with the minute plating, meaning that everything is pretty much around the same color. Like, say I'm plating cauliflower. I would plate cauliflower with like a cream base, something with butter. Everything's kind of in that same color realm, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But stacking is a very popular way of plating because that gives you height. Remember, in our world, we want to remember that we need height on our plates. Not for all chefs don't plate with height. There are some different chefs that plate in different ways, but an easy way to do it is for you to always remember is plate in the center of the plate and remember to have height. All right, going to adapting recipes for improved nutrition. Adapting recipes meaning that you can take a recipe and adapt it for a more nutritious way of cooking. For instance, instead of using granulated sugar, maybe you use pureed fruit. And instead of using, let's say, saturated fats like butter or margarine, maybe you use different oils like olive oils, avocado oils. Not so much in baking would you use avocado oils. Baking will talk more about that when we get there, but you want to know how to convert recipes to make it more nutritious. I believe it was chapter 1 or chapter 2, you all did the assignment of finding out different healthier sugars. So instead of using like granulated sugar, maybe you use coconut sugar, maybe you use stevia, or maybe you don't use any sugar, you just use fruit instead. For added fat, you use different vegetables, pureed vegetables. And instead of using a lot of salt, which salt can cause a lot of bloating for some people. If you eat a lot of chips and you may find a lot of discomfort in your stomach, you're probably taking in way too much sodium. Maybe instead of using a lot of salt, maybe you switch to sea salt. Sea salt is better for you. There's a new salt that I just found out. It's called Celtic sea salt. That's a lot better for you as well. And pink sea salt. It doesn't have a salt flavor to it so much, but it's better for you overall. In our world, we use kosher salt. When we get into baking, I have a whole deal about different salts to use. Sorry about that. Going down to modifications and changing cooking techniques. That's on page 169. Jessie, you still there?
Yes,
all right, thank you, ma'am. These are healthy ways of cooking. Let me blow this up for you some. Remember, deep frying our food is not necessarily the most healthiest way of cooking. We want to try to switch to possibly baking our food, barbecue and grilling. I wish you guys I could hear you guys. But the difference between barbecue and grilling is just the food that's cooked over a fire. Barbecuing is when you add a sauce onto it. Okay? So barbecuing not necessarily the most healthiest, depending on the sauce that you use, but you want to think of grilling your food, because if you're grilling your food above the heat, then all of that fat is dripping off of it, which is reducing calories, reducing fat, and reducing saturated fat. Braising, you all talked about this in first quarter. Remember, braising, you want to use tough cuts of meat. And you're braising them for say 2+ hours, depending on what it is that you're cooking. It's much slower, but it helps to break down that fat, because those tough cuts of meat is held by gristle or held by tougher cuts of fat. So by braising it, you're breaking up that fat and cooking it out of the meat. Broiling is basically just putting your food under heat and just cooking it from the top or from the bottom. And dry sauteing is cooking food without the addition of a fat in your pan. So you're just basically heating your pan with nothing in it, no fat, no oil, and you're just dry sauteing it at a very high heat. Something you all got to get used to is cooking at a high heat. When we are in lab and I see you all cooking at low heat or trying to saute at a low heat, I'm going to come over and I'm going to turn it up. For one, that means that you're going to have to cook faster. It's going to speed you up. And you're going to be able to, you're going to have to prioritize yourself better with having everything portioned out. I'm kind of introducing everything right now as far as how the quarter is going to be and what I'm expecting of you when we get into lab. Don't be overwhelmed. If anything, I want you all to get excited about getting to class when we return in the next few weeks. Which should be fun, and Tisha can tell you all about that. Tisha, I only got you for this class, right?
I'm not sure.
I think, yeah, it's just this class.
Okay. Yeah, they didn't give me the whole rundown of what from last quarter.
I think it's just this class. Okay.
Okay.
All right, here are some more cooking methods to reduce fat. More nutritious way of cooking. This is on page 170. Skip to common ingredient substitutions. So instead of using a lot of salt when it comes to nutritious cooking, you want to use more herbs, more spices, more acidic items like lemon, vinegar. Vinegar, it helps to break down. It's a better aid to digestion. A popular trend right now that people are doing is using the Braggs apple cider vinegar. I tried it for some time, drinking it to kind of help with digestion. Didn't really do anything for me. If anything, it made me more bloated. But anyway, for those of you that like to venture out and try different types of the trends that are going on, for some people it works, for some it don't. Yeah, the apple cider vinegar trick, it just didn't work for me. But so that's what it means by acidic items. Also, drink lemon water, and you want to drink water at room temperature. because your body absorbs the water better. If you think about eating a greasy burger, what happens to that fat when it gets cold? It solidifies. So therefore, where is it going in your body? It's just sticking to your ribs or sticking to the inside, your artery walls. So you want to drink warm water because that hydrates your body better and that flushes you out. And also, drinking water with lemon helps aid to digestion. It helps to break down your food better, as well as helps with your skin and helps with your metabolism, helps you with burning fat and losing weight as well too. Refined sugars, commercially available sugar substitutions, and fruit juices, purees, and dried fruit. Be careful of your fruit juices and your dried fruit. A lot of times, if you're buying them out of a grocery store, look at your nutrition, look at the ingredients, and if the first two ingredients is corn syrup or sugar, that means that it's very, very high in sugar. So be careful with your fruit juices and your dried fruit. The best way to drink fruit juices at its healthiest without the added sugar is to juice them yourself. And there are all different types of tricks you can do with that. You can freeze apples, and then once they're frozen, let them thaw out and then squish them. And that's the best way to get juice out of them. You can get a big expensive juice machine, or you could just eat the fruit whole. That's a good way to get your juices. The more you manipulate your fruit, the more you're breaking it down and the more that you're losing your nutrients. Sugar substitutions. I was about a senior when there was senior in high school when there was a big talk about diet drinks, Diet Coke. A lot of those sugar substitutions contain aspartame. And aspartame is what causes brain disease. So be careful if you are somebody who likes to drink a lot of Diet Coke. I did for some time like the Diet Coke and Coke Zero. However, they have a lot of sugar substitutions in them which contain aspartame. And you definitely want to stay away from that. We talked about fruit purees and liquids and savory preparations. So look at exhibit 8.5 on page 171 when you get a chance. Please remember to make sure that you are reading through these chapters. All right, going down. Choosing healthier fats. I don't know if any of you have tried the plant-based butter. I haven't. If you are
I have.
What do you think about it? I haven't tried.
I've tried the country crop one and I liked it.
Does it taste different?
No, to me it doesn't.
Okay. I know for a minute I was using like Greek yogurt as a substitution for fat. The sour taste of yogurt kind of gets on my nerves a little bit. But for substitution for lower fat, avocados is very, very, very popular. So instead of using butter on your toast, you can use avocado on your toast. Nice. I love avocados. Pretty addictive to me. You can get some, put some herbs on it, put some boiled eggs on it with some hot sauce. That might sound a little gross to some of you, but I promise you, if you try it, you will fall in love.
I swear, you sound like Tabitha Brown, that lady that went
the
viral.
Vegetarian, the vegan.
Yes,
I love her.
She loves avocados. I swear, she lives by it.
Yes, I just saw her video for making bacon with carrot strips.
Oh, I saw that too.
Super, super neat. That was really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes. I always encourage my students to follow different chefs, whether it be on social media, whether you look them up on your spare time. Follow somebody on on YouTube. I like to watch Nas Daily. I like to watch a number of different chefs on YouTube that do look at different street markets, who do their own growing fruits and vegetables. Yes, it takes nothing for you to just add different chefs or different nutritionists on your social media. I think we probably spend up to 3 or 4 hours a day just on our phones and social media. So please just take the time and add somebody on your social media thread, if you haven't already, who is into nutrition, who is a vegetarian, or who is trying to who is a vegan or trying the keto diet. It helps you out. It'll help you in the long run to be able to be more familiar with different techniques, so that when opportunities arise for you as a chef, that you're already familiar with it. I never knew that I would be teaching nutrition, but for the longest time, I was always reading different articles because I've always been into nutrition. Where my nutrition journey comes from is when I was in high school, I had really bad acid reflux. It was really, really bad. Didn't know why it was happening. Didn't know what could stop it. But instead of taking all the different pills that my doctor was trying to give me, because it was like 7 or 8 different pills, I got rid of all of them, and I just decided to just change my diet. So I cut out lots of red meat. I cut out eating lots of iceberg lettuce, because people think that eating salads are healthy, but sometimes people can gain weight from eating salads if they're not prepared the right way. If you're still eating dressings that are high in saturated fat, then you're going to gain weight. If you're still eating salads that are high in cheese, high in just high in things that you don't need, that's not going to help you to lose weight or help to reach your goal, then you're going to actually end up gaining more weight. But for me, I started just cutting out a lot of stuff that I was eating. I still have a sweet tooth. That has not changed, but I've gotten better about it. Anyway, that's a little bit about my nutrition diet. But yes, continue to get familiar with what's going on. It's going to help you in the long run. But substitutions.
Chef, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever tried the Just Egg?
Just Egg. That's the one that was in the box?
It's in a bottle.
I think so.
It's like the vegan substitute egg thing.
I
But
think
it looks
my
just like
cousin
egg when they
prepared
make
it.
it.
I think my cousin prepared it for me. Matter of fact, a couple months ago. But another trend that's going on, that for those who don't know, people are using the juice from soybeans, like the canned soybeans, or garbanzo beans. I'm
Bajo.
sorry. I'm thinking of gazpacho. Garbanzo beans, and using the juice from that, and they're whipping it up and using that for egg whites. So get familiar with that. Turkey bacon. Let's talk about turkey bacon. The issue with turkey bacon is it's very, very high in sodium. Extremely high. Turkey, however, is one of the healthiest proteins that you can eat. Turkey breast is one of the healthiest proteins that you can eat. But turkey bacon, because it is processed, it has a lot of sodium in it. So, but if you are somebody who enjoys eating turkey bacon, you can opt for the low sodium version. Sausage. I have fallen in love with the Morningstar vegetarian breakfast sausages. However, I can't eat a lot of them because it is a processed food and it's very high in sodium. The issue with a lot of these gluten-free breads and these vegetarian or vegan processed meals that you see now, it is a better option for you, but if you're buying it already processed, it's very high in sodium. It's still considered a processed food. So just keep that in mind. And it still has a lot of preservatives, has a lot of additives to it to make it taste like a meat, for instance. So be aware of that. I like to eat some of the vegetarian options or the vegan options. However, I don't like to consume a lot of them because, like I said, sodium causes you to bloat. Like if you have a lot of discomfort in your abdominal region, or you or you're very dehydrated, it's because you're taking in way too much salt. So just be aware of that. Anybody any questions? Yay, nay. All right. Margarine versus butter. Personally, I like butter. I like the taste of butter. My aunts, they old school, they like margarine. But I'm on page 172, and what it says is margarine is made from vegetable oils that are solidified either by hydrogenated fats or by saturated fat, which saturated fat, by the way, is bad fat. You want to stay away from food that is high in saturated fat. Soft margins solidified with partially hydrogenated fatty acids contain small amounts of trans fatty acids in each serving. That's on page 172. I just read the first 2 paragraphs. But yes, margarine is more so made from oils, whereas butter is made from dairy. Little story, when I was an executive chef back at a restaurant in Atlanta, my boss tried to cut costs for us to make our own butter by whipping cream. If you over whip cream, keep whipping cream, it's going to turn into butter. And I would use the whey or the milk from the butter and make biscuits with it. So that was one way of being resourceful. It was a pain, but if you want to try that for yourself, you can just take some heavy whipping cream and over whip it until it starts to clump up, and just keep whipping it. It's going to turn into butter. And in our world, of course, we always use unsalted butter. That way we can control how much salt we're adding to our food.
How do you feel about sweet cream butter?
Sweet cream butter is the best for laminated doughs. And I'm jumping ahead, but when we make our croissants and pastry dough and Danish doughs, I was trying to get sweet cream butter, but it's very expensive. But it's better for making laminated doughs. I, however, don't eat it on my spare time. I know my grandmother used to use it, but I just like good old butter.
I was gonna buy some today because I went to Sam's Club and they had it. And
it's a little bit more expensive.
It was like $9.
Yeah.
For a big 4-pound one.
What you finna make?
I don't know. I just wanted butter, and I seen that butter, and I was like, ooh, I don't know what I would do with it.
With 4 pounds? Jesus.
I just seen it, and I'm like, oh, but I didn't get it because it wasn't really a necessary thing that I needed. So it
would be good in baking. Like, it's probably good for cinnamon rolls. But remember,
don't
because
say that
it
to
is
me, because you know I like making cinnamon rolls. So I'm about to go back and buy it.
I love to make cinnamon rolls too. I used to make them a lot. But if you're using sweet cream, it probably is higher in saturated fat because of the addition of, I guess, sugar. I'm not sure what makes it sweet. But yeah, I can't really give you too much of the background because
I'll look into it.
Okay. It's not something that I use frequently. Leaner cuts of meat. How do you know if a meat is good, or how do you know you're buying the high quality meats?
The redder it is.
Redder it is, but you're also looking for
the marbling.
The marbling.
And what's marbling, Shamika?
It's like the white. I call it the white stuff that's in like your beef, your ribeyes, and stuff like that. I don't know.
The white stuff. She said the white stuff.
I said the white stuff, so it's just the lining, like the color of the meat. I can't explain it.
It's the fat. The white stuff is the fat. So you're looking for it, basically like you marble countertops. You want to look for basically lines or streams of white throughout the meat. Goodness, I wish I could bring up a picture of Kobe beef. But we'll get into Kobe beef when we get into international. But how do you know if it's a good grade of or a high quality cut of beef? Is if it has a lot or contains a high amount of marbling. Now, for your leaner cuts of meat, leaner meaning that it has less marbling, less fat. Lean like venison, chicken. Chicken doesn't have marbling, but it would be considered more of a leaner cut. The tenderloin, for instance, would be probably the leanest part of the chicken. What is another one? I can't think of it right now. But
sirloin? Is sirloin one of them?
Yes, when you get your cheaper sirloins. Like when I did eat red meat, I hated sirloins. I didn't find it to be that tender, but some people do, depending on how you cook it. But the best way to cook leaner meats is very high heat and very quickly. And you don't want to cook your lean meats like all the way to well done because it's going to be tougher. So because when you have meat that's high in marbling, high in fat, it's a lot more easier to cut and it's a lot more juicier. So like when you're grounding up burgers, I used to ground up a lot of burgers, y'all. Chef Keaton did a lot. I know you probably don't believe me. I got pictures to prove it. I've done a lot. Grounding up burgers, you want to contain, for some people stick to a 30-70 rule, 70 being the actual meat and 30% being actual added fat. So that's what keeps the burgers moist. But if you want to do a leaner burger, if you were grounding up your own burger, you probably want to do maybe like a 90-10, like 90% red meat, 10% fat, or just 100% red meat and no fat, even though it's kind of almost impossible to eliminate fat altogether. But that's an option of how to do leaner meats or leaner cuts of meat. Modifications by adding select ingredients or examples of recipe modifications. And we will go more in depth into this when we get into our lab classes, but we kind of went over that already. And you all will, I think for today, you're doing, what's the work for today? I'm sorry.
6, 7, and 8 chapters that are due. Questions 1 through 10.
Today is day 5, chapter 8. So your work today is to complete only exercise 1 on page 184. Please make and do your review questions. So far, I should have your review questions all the way from 1 to chapter 8. So I'm giving you all into Thursday to get all of your work in. If I were you, I would not wait till the last minute. And I'm only doing this because there wasn't confusion on the on uploading things to Moodle. But please be sure that you are staying on top of your work and make sure that you are uploading all of your.
I already did mine.
Yeah.
Okay, so 6, 7, and 8 review questions are due today, right? In chapter 8, the exercise 1 is due by 12 tomorrow.
Yeah, you have up until tomorrow to turn in your exercise, but I'm giving you all up until Thursday to get all of your work in.
Okay.
But if I were you, I wouldn't wait to the last minute. Please don't wait to the last minute, because if it's not uploaded on Moodle, you will receive a 0. Friday is your final exam, and whatever I don't see, you'll just be getting zeros for it.
So when we send it to Moodle, we need to send it also, we need to upload it and send it to you like we were sending it in an attachment, or no?
Moodle, yeah, like right here. For instance, how I showed you at school. Mine is a little bit different than yours, but mine says view all submissions. For you, right here, it would say edit, submit, or submit something. Submit assignment or something like that. So you would just click on that, and then you would just upload your assignment that way. Did you understand that?
So it would say edit, submit. I need to edit it and submit it to you.
It says add submission. So
yeah,
when you click add submission, you click add file. If you had you should already typed it up and saved it on your computer or wherever, and then you just search for it in wherever you have it. And when you click on it, it will just upload it by itself, and then you click submit, and it will submit it through.
So we only submitting the Moodle, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing else. Okay. I just need to find. I just want to make sure. Okay.
Okay. All right, let me go ahead and finish up. And if you need, if you need me to come to the school, if you need me to help you with something, please let me know ahead of time. Okay. I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it up to the school today. Remember, my mom, we're just kind of monitoring her symptoms right now, and I don't want to spread anything to anybody unnecessary. We don't know if it's a stomach virus that she has or if she's actually coming down with something more serious. So, but I will get okay. Yes, thank you. I will get Chef Boyd or Chef Anderson to help you if needed be, if they are going to be at the school. But please let me know.
I know Chef Boyd was there earlier today because we had a Zoom meeting with her this morning at 11. I'm not sure if she left though.
Yeah, I think she's already gone. I did speak with her today, but let me know ahead of time. And also, you and whoever, if you do need help, you and I could have a Zoom meeting, and you could just share your screen, and I can just show you how to submit it that way. So there's many different options. Just make sure you just let me know which one will work better for you.
Great.
All right, let's go ahead and finish this. Okay, we talked about that. Some of this we've already talked about. Once again, going back into converting recipes, make sure we're going to go over this when we get back into our classroom setting. We're going to definitely talk, we're going to do some exercises on converting. We're going to talk about it all the time. You're going to do a lot of converting recipes when we get into baking, splitting recipes into half, doing it by a fourth, or doing it by a third. Something that you're going to always do. You're going to always be converting recipes. Remember the difference between measuring volume versus weight. When we talk about weight, we use a scale. We're talking about volume, we talk about, that's when you're using your measuring cups or your measuring spoons. So here's a quick little chart that'll help you all. 1 gallon equals 1 quart and so forth. And we'll continue to go back over that throughout the quarter. Right here, I kind of wanted to talk about the difference between these two different, I know Jesse, you can't see this, I'm just gonna kind of describe it. This right, the temperature tools, right here, you all calibrated, I saw you all calibrating your thermometers in first quarter. There's 2 ways of doing it. Remember, you can either boil water and to check to see if it comes up to, I think 212 degrees, I believe. Or you could use frozen water or use ice water and make sure that your thermometer goes all the way down to 0. So make sure that your thermometer is always calibrated with each use so it can give you an accurate reading. This thermometer is called, this is like a candy thermometer. You put on the side of a bowl, you put it on the side of your saucepan, and it gives you the reading of, let's say, your simple syrup, or when you're making candy, more so when you use a candy thermometer. The other thermometer is the one that you basically just hold up to meat, and it'll tell you, give you the reading of the temperature. The issue with those type of thermometers is it just gives you the surface temperature. It doesn't give you an accurate temperature of the inside of the meat, okay? I, for one, like to, once you, with practice, you'll be able to touch your meats and see, and you'll know if it's well done or if it's mid-rare, if it's medium. It takes practice, of course, but I'm the type that don't like to continue to stab my food with the regular thermometers because it just takes the juice out. But we'll definitely get more into that when we get into international. We're going to talk about employee performance when we get into management next week. I'm going to post this PowerPoint on Moodle as well as this lecture. I'm actually trying to upload last week's lecture right now. I don't even know if it's finished. Could go through these slides. Remember to go through read through the lesson. I didn't touch on every single thing, but please go back and read through it. Do you all have any questions or concerns?
How can I I cannot upload my PowerPoint.
Huh? Your PowerPoint?
I can't upload them, no ma'am. I don't know what's going on with that.
You can't upload your PowerPoint? Why do you have a PowerPoint?
Your PowerPoint, chapter 6 and 7.
You can't open it? Is that what you're saying? Shanika? What did you say, Shanika? You can't
Yes,
open
ma'am. No, ma'am, I can't open it.
Okay. I'm not sure what the issue is with your computer. That might be a software issue for your computer. Are you using a laptop?
Yes, ma'am.
I I'll probably be at the school. I may try to be at the school on Thursday. If I can't get to the school, then I'll just have Chef Boyd or Chef Anderson to help you with that one. That sounds more like maybe like your software needs to be updated or something.
Okay.
But yeah, if you just read through the book, it'll give you all the information. It'll give you the information.
Yeah, I read the chapter this morning, so.
Okay. All right. If no one has any questions, I will give all of you a participation grade. Remember, these Zoom calls. What'd you say? Somebody had a comment? No. These Zoom meetings are mandatory. We'll have our next Zoom lecture on Wednesday, but we're going to have it at 11 o'clock so we can kind of get it over and done with. And that'll be it for today. So if you all will don't have any more questions or concerns, I mean, you can call me. Have a good day.
Thank you. You
Bye.
too.